So let's get into some potential trades that the Padres could make. I'll start talking about just the positions first. I think for us, where we're at right now, I think there's two positions that we think they could make trades at. One would be a corner outfielder to take over that everyday left fielder role. And yes, I understand that Tommy Pham's been doing better, but I still expect that to kind of be the play here. This is Pham's last year on his contract. I don't really know how it's going to look, but I think that's where we're all at. That is probably the spot offensively that they're looking to attack. Then I also think they could go after a bullpen or a long arm, and we'll bring up a couple names here. But Chase, I'll let you start off, man. Who do you think is the best option in left field that the Padres could trade for at this point?
I honestly, my guy would probably be Starling Marte. He's a little bit older, but he only has one extra year off this contract, which means trading him from the Marlins might not cost that much more. When you get into those guys with multiple years of control past like 2 or 3 years, it's going to start digging into the farm a little bit more than I want to, especially if you're only using him as a rental or a stopgap. And it will honestly all depend on how the Marlins end up doing. They might be sellers at the deadline, they might be buyers. It's kind of hard to predict who's going to be a seller at the deadline right now because it's still, somewhat early in the season. You won't find out for probably like another month, maybe a month and a half, who's truly going to be the sellers. And even then, the Marlins might be one of those teams that are on the fence because they could just be one or two players away from contending for a wild card spot, or they could just, fall flat. So, Starling Marte would be my guy. He's a really solid left fielder. He hits, he can run, he can hit for power when he needs to, plays really good defense. And that's where I think Tommy Pham kind of lacks. We all saw him misplay that ball in left field when Snell was pitching. I think that was probably the most frustrating thing to see. You're like, okay, that's definitely a hit. And you saw Tommy Pham running for it, like he had a chance for diving at it, and it completely went past him. And I was just like, I don't think I've seen a worse played ball by a left fielder this year, other than like Tommy Pham, because Tommy Pham messed up in the Rockies series. That fly ball where he's just like, I don't know where it is, and it landed like at the fence right behind him. I was like, okay, you know what, the sun. But this one, I don't think I can find a reason for like how he messed that up that badly.
Touching on Starling Marte, he's batting 300 this year. He did have a rib fracture earlier in the year, but he's back and he's healthy. I think he's only played like in 25 games or so, but batting 300 in those 25 games, I think an option that I want to toss out there, and I kind of seen a lot of people toss him out there in the Padres, community pages, around the Padres community. Jesse Winker, he's I think 27 years old, batting 350 right now with 14 home runs. He just came off a 3 home run game in which he hit a game winner, a walk-off home run, I believe. And he's having a really solid year so far. Tommy Pham, he's been the second best hitter over the last month on our team or so. But, overall, when we're talking about Tommy Pham, he has that incident in the offseason where, something happened at the club, and we can't blame that all on him. But then, him and Ha-Seong Kim crashed in the outfield, and, he's complaining, he's mad while his teammate's being carried off the field. I just don't think that's very good teammate morale. But it still seems like the clubhouse is okay with him. They still seem to like him. But overall, I wouldn't say Tommy Pham is a weak link right now, but defensively, that dude is horrible. Like Chase said, I don't know if I've ever seen someone play ball so bad, but Jesse Winker is definitely a guy that needs to be thrown out there. I don't know what it would cost to take him. He's only cost $3 or $4 million right now. I think it's like something in his last year of arbitration, something like that. So that's definitely a guy that I have seen a lot of pop up in the Padres community, and I definitely think that I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I was looking at both these guys. Isaac, I'm going to side with you. I like the Jesse Winker move a little bit more. You just look at how this guy's been hitting. He can be a really, really solid bat for the Padres. And like you guys both brought up, Pham's been a lot better on offense. Defensively, he has definitely been a liability in left field. And I know he's known as being a good fielder, but since he's been in San Diego for whatever case, he has not been that. So, you got to address how he's played here. I think that he has come around. He has got on base a lot, but Jesse Winker seems like a much better option in left field. I don't know how much it would cost for him. And that was, Chase, you were a little bit skeptical of them potentially going after him just because you think the price tag might be really hefty. And rightfully so, the dude's hitting 350 right now with 14 home runs. He's absolutely tearing the cover off of the baseball. So you'd expect it could be pretty high. He has arbitration next year, I think you said, Isaac. So probably going to demand a decent salary. So it'd be more of a stopgap option for the Padres. Chase, you also had another guy, though, that they could have under control for a while. Did you want to bring up him really quickly?
Oh yeah, Anthony Santander from the Orioles. He's sort of your average player, but he'd probably hit around what Tommy Pham would hit by the end of the season, which is like in between 260 and 270. He's a better fielder. He might not get on base as much, but we really just need him to play solid defense and probably hit between 260 and 270. He probably has about the same power as Pham, better defense, probably about the same speed. So I just think I'd prefer to have him out there than Pham, because every time there's been like an incident in the outfield where there's like sort of a fly ball that's kind of not called, it seems to be with Pham around, and there's almost a lot of collisions with him out there. I'd rather have a more solid fielder and someone who's more vocal in the outfield than Pham getting angry at his teammates for probably his mistakes for not being loud enough or not calling it soon enough.
I would have to disagree with Anthony Santander, not because not because I don't think he's a good player, but because he's just not going to get on base as much as Tommy Pham. However, defensively, I completely understand why you say so, Chase. Just getting on base, offensive production. I would have to side with Tommy Pham just because he is getting on base at a much higher rate than Anthony Santander. But other than that, I'm fully set on Jesse Winker. I think he'd be a great option. He might be a little more expensive, like Chase is. Chase is pretty concerned about that. I completely understand. He might be a little more expensive, but I'm all in on winning right now. I think the whole point of a trade is, you got to make an upgrade at the position. And Marte is an upgrade. I'd say Santander's kind of defensively, he's an upgrade. You sacrifice that defensive aspect for the offense, or you sacrifice the offensive aspect for the defensive aspect. But I think if you're going to go all in on an upgrade in left field, you go for Jesse Winker, who is batting 350 with a 400 on base percentage, 14 home runs.
I definitely like that kind of style of being really aggressive and getting that final piece to the lineup, hopefully. And also another thing is just having a lineup back healthy would help a ton as well. Having a lot of injuries right now. So I think that the move would definitely be at left field. But then moving on to the bullpen, I know that you guys both had a couple names. Do you just want to bring them up really quickly? And also, I'll add, I think there is a chance that they go after a guy that can eat up a little bit more innings, just because we've seen bullpen potentially have some wear and tear this year with the most innings pitched in the league. But Chase, was there a guy that you thought they might go after?
I don't know if he can eat up multiple innings, but there's just a guy that I think if Palm does go down, a longer shoulder injury, they might trade for him sooner. Is Paul Fry? He's a lefty from the Baltimore Orioles. He has under the 2 ERA through like 23, 24 innings. So he's a guy that can get it done. He would fit that lefty role, and we could probably just use another lefty in the bullpen. Tim Hill's been great. He's been fantastic. He's sort of been our like big game guy whenever we need to get out of a bases loaded situation or a big situation. He comes in and absolutely kills it. But other than that, we don't really have a dominant left-hander in the bullpen since Palm went down and Waterhone went down with TJ. So getting another guy in there that can fit that role, especially when it comes to, deeper into the season and maybe into playoffs, having another lefty bullpen arm would be tremendous to have.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a huge pickup. I also think if we're going to switch over to the righty side of things, Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates would also be a great acquisition. Kind of similar to the guy Chase brought up. 1.85 ERA, 3-1 over 24 innings pitched, having a really solid year. He's on the Pirates. If the Pirates aren't sellers at the deadline, I don't know what they're doing other than being a pretty bad franchise. But this would be, the main reason we bring up the bullpen is because the whole bullpen has thrown like way too many innings. I think we're second in the league in bullpen innings pitched, and that's way too high right now. We need them to be able to go, we need them for the long run of the season. So to bring in a guy who's only thrown 24 innings would be huge. They're going to be able to eat up some innings. They're going to be able to throw consecutive days because they haven't thrown much overall in the season yet. So huge pickup if we get some guy, any guy in the bullpen that can go in there with a, under a 2.5 ERA right now.
Absolutely. And I think that'll probably do it for this kind of trade segments. And I think that'll kind of do it for this trade segment. I think we just wanted to get a couple names out there. Not like there's any rumors or anything attached to these names, but I think these are just potential guys that we liked. And if you guys have guys that you like or you think that the Padres should target, like let us know in the comments too. Also, if you don't think Tommy Pham should be traded, you think he's swinging a hot bat, he's going to turn around, let us know as well. If he's going, and also if you think he's going to bounce back to what he used to be, especially in St. Louis and Tampa Bay as a fielder, definitely. I get that opinion, so definitely let us know about that. Want to hear your guys' opinions too on it, and also bring us some other names because we'll be talking about these, like monitoring the trade rumors and whatnot as it kind of picks up. And I think, Chase, you said about a month. I feel like that's about right. Right when July starts is usually when it really starts picking up a lot of steam because you see who are the true sellers. But I think that'll do it for this segment. Also, I said previously, if anyone's interested in sports writing, I'll attach an email below. Let me know about that. Part of Undrafted Sports Network. So we'll talk to you guys very soon.